Greetings, dear listeners. Hope you're all doing well. I'd like to share with you the following email, which I received from a friend who is an amateur astronomer. Warren, our club has an observatory out on a lonely part of the Bald Prairie, about 30 miles out of the city. It's basically an enclosure with 10-foot wooden walls to shut out any ground-level light. It's pitch dark inside after the sun goes down. Over the weekend, I was supposed to meet some of my buddies there. We were going to be observing the new comet, NEOWISE, but we must have got our wires crossed, as there was no one there when I arrived. I texted one of the guys, and sure enough, they had been out there the previous evening. "We wondered what happened to you," this guy answers me. "We had a great time." Of course you did. But nobody bothered to call me. Thanks, guys. Seeing I was there, however, I decided I might as well set up my telescope and take a gander at NEOWISE. It was a fabulous night, but I couldn't seem to settle down. Something was off, and I began feeling vaguely apprehensive. I suddenly realized it was my first time alone at the observatory. But I didn't know why that should frighten me, as I had often gone stargazing alone at night, sometimes in equally lonely places. I shrugged it off and was checking out our newest visitor to the solar system when I sensed furtive movements outside, around the wall of the enclosure. I couldn't hear footsteps. It was more of a subtle change in the atmosphere, if that makes any sense. Everything had gone dead silent. You couldn't hear the wind or the distant rumble of traffic on the Trans-Canada. Nothing. It was like standing in a vacuum. And that's when I did hear something. A low, deep rumbling sound. The growl of an animal. I felt an icy stab of fear, but I told myself it was only a dog or coyote, animals I could handle, if that's what it really was out there. There were openings at both ends of the enclosure, so I stuck my head out and looked around. Nothing. Stepping out, I slowly made my way along the wall, and then had a second shock. The lights of the city were no longer visible, and even the stars seemed to have disappeared, although it wasn't cloudy. All I could really see was the wall against which I was standing. It was like an additional pall or layer of darkness had been laid atop the natural darkness. I took out my pocket flash, but the beams seemed to fade into nothingness. So I continued, moving along the wall, holding onto it with my left hand. And then the reality of my situation hit me. I was alone, without a weapon, in utter darkness, with something that was growling at me, and which was getting closer. I thought about heading for the car, assuming I could find it in the near total darkness. But I wasn't leaving my telescope. The growling was becoming progressively louder. Reaching the end of the wall, I stuck my head around the corner, and at the far end, I saw two fiery red eyes glaring down at me, as they were near the top of the wall, which is 10 feet in height. The red eyes sat atop a column of deeper black, which seemed to be oozing towards me, like it was about to attack. My only weapon was my flashlight. I switched it on, instinctively aiming for the eyes. I saw a canine head, a muzzle, and rows of white teeth. And then the beast or werewolf or whatever faded into black mist. And as it faded, the night slowly returned to normal, with the stars reappearing above me, and I could hear the wind again, and the traffic on the Trans-Canada. Still, I went and gathered up my telescope, got into my car, and got the hell out of there. For, as I was staring into those red eyes, I distinctly heard the words, "Go away. Go away now." And so I did. So what did I observe? A werewolf? Or was it one of those entities you call a dogman? A dogman would be appropriate, as we are currently under the influence of Sirius, the dog star, the bright star in the night skies during the dog days of summer. I'm not afraid to go back to the observatory, but in future, I won't be going alone. Ted. So, dear listeners, what do you think it was? Werewolf or Dogman? As for Sirius the Dog Star, it exerted an evil influence over my early life, as I always seemed to get myself in trouble when Sirius was overhead on those long, hot summer nights. Those were the days, my friends. Please share your opinions as to the identity of Ted's nemesis. Nemesis, I like that. In the comments below, and stay safe. Stay subscribed. Ring the bell so you won't miss any of my upcoming videos, and feel free to share this video or any of my material. If this is your first visit to my channel, please consider subscribing. My name is Warren, and I write and tell original ghost stories and original horror stories about cryptids such as the Night Floaters, Werewolves, and the Black-Eyed Children. Stay hungry. Till midnight. Cheers.